Welcome to Mike's Minis, the place for all things mini wargaming. And in today's episode, I have for you, we're starting a special little mini series called Faction Friday. Faction Friday, I'm going to take either a faction or a Space Marine force that you would like to learn a little bit more about, go over lore, how to paint the army, and maybe even how to start an army. We'll first start off with some Space Marines, and then I'll start going into more Xenos and Chaos factions and things like that as we move along. But first, we're going to get started with what was my favorite passion project I'm still eventually going to do when I like everybody else, am no longer poor in this world and actually can have money. I'm going to start what's called the Last Wall Protocol. Now, in the lore of Warhammer 40k, the Last Wall Protocol is the protocol that Rogel Dorn's Legion, the Imperial Fists, kind of put into the clause for all of their successor chapters to be able to combine together as one massive legion again in the extreme case of needing to defend Terra from some sort of threat that a single Space Marine chapter couldn't handle by itself. You need a legion to defend it. And as far as I can tell in the lore, that's only happened once during the War of the Beast. The Imperial Fist chapter, not the Legion, but the chapter, was almost effectively wiped out. They had like one or two Marines left out of the 1,000, and they called any Imperial Fist successor chapters that were in the area and said, we're activating the Last Wall Protocol to rebuild the chapter, and we need to defend Earth against this horde of orcs that just is coming. We need a legion. A chapter can't do this by itself. And these 7 chapters right here were the ones that answered the 6 chapters, 7 counting the Imperial Fist, were the ones that answered the Last Wall Protocol in the book. That's why they have an official artwork for it. But any Space Marine chapter that's descendant or a successor of an Imperial Fist or a successor of an Imperial Fist can answer the Last Wall Protocol, if that makes sense. And so this is just some examples of others that could be in there. Some of them were not in the Last Wall Protocol, but you can get an idea. These are some of the ones that we're going to go into down the road here. But to start off with faction focus, we might as well go start with the very beginning one and look at the Imperial Fists. This is their chapter logo right here. That's just a fist pumping up in the air on a circle of white on a field of yellow. And typically what we see mostly is the third company of the Imperial Fist Legion, which has the red trim shoulder pads. I like the black trim, which I think is fifth company. And if you ever watch another YouTuber, Chapter Master Valric, he's the one who introduced me to the Last Wall Protocol with some of his videos in the past, and he showed me the glory that is Dorn, and so we will. I eventually will have some Imperial Fists with my Last Wall Protocol with that here. But moving forward with that, here's some facts about the Imperial Fists as a chapter and as a legion. They were originally founded during the 30th millennium. They were known as the 7th Legion of the Emperor. The Primarch, as I said earlier, is Rogel Dorn, who is not with us currently in the lore, but he is, I think, going to come back eventually down the road, because when he disappeared, all they could find was just his hand, ironically. So maybe he'll come back, who knows. This chapter, or legion, has many successor chapters. I mean, there are dozens, but the most notable of them are the Black Templars and the Crimson Fist, which have actual more stories and lore, and one of them in particular, which we'll go into the next video, Black Templars, even succeeded the Imperial Fist in popularity. But the home world for these guys, they have an original home world, which was called Inuit. But they often have Terra or Earth as also marked as a home world for them, because they seem to be based off of those two. But currently in the lore, they are a fleet-based centered chapter, and they fly around in mainly their fortress monastery, the biggest warship, the Phalanx, and I believe in all of the lore. So they're technically a fleet-based chapter, but they have many bases on many worlds, mainly in their home world and on Terra for recruitment. They are obviously a loyalist to Imperium of Man, and the colors being yellow, black, and red are very predominant, mainly yellow. And now, how to start one of these armies right here. This is how you really why how you would start them here. I've got two options. This is the first way. Why collect Imperial Fists? Good question. Well, they're a good defensive army, and bolters are your friend. You can have just lots of generic space marines with bolters, and these guys will do you well. In past editions, I think in ninth edition, they had it every time you rolled a six, they got an extra shot that was an automatic hit. It was just fantastic. Bolters are bolters. And yellow, painting yellow can be fun, but it can be tricky at the same time. But yellow, I mean, just look at this; it just pops. You can't miss this on the table. In this example list, it's actually a photo of what you could start with the army. This is just buying all the boxes separate here. We will have a captain right there in the front and center. You could have 10 intercessors, 5 hellblasters, a squad of aggressors, and a redemptor dreadnought. The total points for this size of an army is 685. That's not counting, unless in a box of Hellblasters you could actually get 10 and not 5. So it could be a little bit higher at an additional 100 points, so like 700 point plus. Of an army if you added the whole squad of 10 Hellblasters. But the MSRP, if you were to buy this from Games Workshop, that's $306. I don't have $306. I don't know anybody who has an extra 306 lying around. So this is something you can build up to. But thankfully, we have Amazon, which did the math at time of recording. You could get all of these box sets right here, and it would cost around $206.40 at time of filming here. And here's the second way of getting starting an Imperial Fist army. This is utilizing a what is it called? Combat Patrol Box. That's it. And this, ironically, we're going to start with the Dark Angels Combat Patrol Box right here. It slightly different units. It still has the 10 intercessors, 5 hellblasters. The captain is now a captain in Gravis armor and can be attached to the aggressors, that you'll still need to get a box of aggressors. And now you also have Blade Guard veteran as kind of a unique veteran unit that's close combat focused from there. And obviously you wouldn't be Imperial Fist Legion without a Redemptor Dreadnought, so we have to get that. That basically is just 3 boxes you just get. It's about 650 points for this kind of size of army. A little bit smaller, not too much smaller. MSRP, ironically, is $1 more to buy these 3 boxes versus buying all the separate boxes. So Combat Patrol kind of didn't really save us any money if you were going to go this army, which is a little hilarious. But hey, what do you know? Amazon, you can at time of recording, you can get this same all 3 of these boxes for around $247.90. And now, what you need to start painting one of these guys up here. First of all, for our yellow, we need Averland Sunset. That's the base for everything yellow. And then for anything that's metal, we want to use Lead Belcher. Abaddon Black is what we use for all the black trim and or the black bodysuit that's underneath the armor here. Mephiston Red is used for the chest aquila and the eye lenses. That can also be used for the trim as well if you're wanting to do third company like you see in the lore. Rhinoxide is what I use for a lot of the leather bits here, and Wraithbone is used for any purity seals, the streamer part of it, with Mephiston Red being the wax seal for that. And then the overall wash for these guys that works really well with yellow is Agrax Earthshade. It darkens it really down, and then when you do a layer over the wash, it helps keep that yellow very bright. Overall, that's how I would paint it right here. Painting up this guy right here, it took me a good 15 minutes or so to paint up one Marine, and it was just layer after layer after layer of Sunset, Averland Sunset, excuse me. That I think this guy has a total of like 3 or 4 coats of paint to get it to that brilliant yellow. And there's still some spots I could probably do a little bit more to make it shine or clean it up better. But all in all, this is how you would paint that up here. So that's the Imperial Fist Legion and the start of going through how to make a Last Wall protocol list. Thank you for joining me on Faction Friday. I hope to continue to make more of these videos on a regular, maybe every week, maybe every other week, again, depending on schedule. We also have our Blood Bowl League videos that need to come out, and filming those is a little bit of a challenge, so we'll definitely see what we have going on with that. But until then, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Miniatures. Like and subscribe. Comment if you have questions or see which one you're wanting to see next. And until then, I'll see you later. Bye bye.